Yeah, I know.
Live.
I know.
I liked it.
I didn't know.
Knew what happened.
Leave it alone.
Yeah, you're right. When Aaron asked me,
What?
actually. Pray.
Preview. Not yet.
Oh.
Well, they couldn't see that. Yeah.
10.
And how does phone number?
5, 4, pray.
Really cute.
Our place, where we can dream and share it. Our place, we'll find a friend to care it.
We are Our Place Out Loud. I am your lovely and captivating host, Louise Blanker, here with a very large, wonderful panel of teenagers. We've got Aaron, Kimute, Ryan, the Ryan salute. We've got Maddie, Montana, Austin. In the booth, we've got Jake and Alex. And we've got our visitors from the East. We have Moses and Adam and their parents, my cousins, are Sarah and Tim. Who else is here? Ellie's here. Trish is here. Oh, my sister Joanne is here. Yay. And when Joanne is here, it's a special event because Joanne is one of those people that will start talking about something and she'll be like, oh, I need to talk. So it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Of course, Justin is here, as ever. We are at 888-531-7171. Please call us. We would love to discourse with you thusly. I don't even know if that's a sentence, but I just said it, and so it shall be. So does anyone have any news or updates to report? I know that Montana came home from England or Ireland or France. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, please.
It was fun. It was cold.
Did you find that there were British people there?
So many British people.
Really?
People would talk and I would just be in awe. It's the best accent.
Just please say that again. Aaron is also kind of enamored of the Brits.
A bit of an Anglophile, yes, a little bit.
Did you see Prince George? Did they have you over to see the baby prince?
No, I was busy that day.
Mm.
I mean, they invited me, but I was like,
Yeah.
sorry.
You know, like, look at the time. I really just couldn't.
Got plans for tea.
Got
Yeah.
other plans for tea, other princes, miles to go. All right, so let's dive into questions and get things going on because we've got some exciting stuff to talk about. This in from BMTH. I know this sounds stupid, but I forgot what to do at sleepovers. I never have them because I'm always busy, but my friends, I think she meant apostrophe S, my friend is sleeping over tomorrow, and I don't know what to do. Help. So, of course, a lot of people weighed in with their idea. Ryan, why are you suddenly the sleepover expert?
Because I have a lot of sleepovers.
Okay. And makeovers. Okay,
No.
go ahead.
I was going to say you're just going to do whatever you do on a regular, like just hanging out with someone, except you just have more time because they're sleeping over. That's what I do with my friends. Like if I go to their house, regardless, I'm taking this off now.
Yes.
Regardless of whether or not they're sleeping over, I'll just do the same stuff with them. Like, and then I just have more time.
And then at a certain point of the evening, you just go, oh, I'm tired.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you
No.
just stay up
No,
all
you just
night.
stay up all night.
Austin?
I think a really fun thing to do at sleepovers is have deep conversations. Like Aaron and I used to do all the time. One time we disproved the existence of time. That was a really good one.
Yep.
Another time we stayed up.
Sorry, I missed that.
It'll be published somewhere because I'm a philosophy major, so I'll inform them.
Jake and I do that sometimes, but he gets really mad at me when I go into like these pseudo-philosophical things. He gets really mad at me and starts yelling at me. Yeah, and he slaps me
an
sometimes.
argument if your argument is evidence doesn't exist.
It was just I was just playing devil's advocate in that case because he had this really strong stance, and I just kind of wanted to go against him.
So your goal was to make me mad, and then tell everyone how angry I get.
No,
because
my
you tried
goal
to
my
make
goal
me
was
mad.
just to play the other side of the argument, so it didn't just die out.
It's really impossible to prove a negative. You do know that, right?
It's a logical
but no,
fallacy.
like you can fill a room with light, but you can't fill it with darkness. That's like a thing my grandpa told me once, and it just blew my mind.
You can curse the darkness or light a candle and burn down the room. So it's up to you.
What?
I don't know if I'm quoting Helen Keller or Eleanor Roosevelt, but the point is, go ahead, Maddie.
Well, last time I was at a sleepover, my friend painted my nails, but that's a girly thing to do. So if you're not a girl painting your nails, but I know you do.
Oh no,
anyway,
Ryan's
so it's fine.
down.
Um,
He's down.
Not unintentionally.
But anyway, it took like a really long time because she did like Doctor Who nails. So she did like
Wow,
yeah,
that's intricate
so she
work.
put, like, suspenders and a bow tie and like the buttons from the shirt. Okay.
Did she take a picture of him for Instagram?
She did actually,
Yay.
and Facebook. But anyway, does anyone watch Doctor Who? Or am I the
No, but a
only
lot of
one?
kids in the app are
'Cause I'm gonna
talking about
feel
Doctor
really
Who, and I
alone.
can't figure out if they're like in love with the guy who plays Doctor Who or if they
Yes.
love the storyline or both.
Okay, it's probably a combination of both. But ask anyone who watches Doctor Who, nobody likes the new Doctor because
Oh,
they
no.
switch it like every couple seasons.
Why?
Nobody likes him because he's old.
Because
Do they seriously?
Doctor Who. The thing is,
He's old.
he relives, like he
Regenerates.
dies. He comes to life
Oh, so
again
he's
as someone
supposed
else.
to look different?
Right.
Yes,
he's supposed to look different.
But nobody likes the new actor because
Right.
he's old.
He looks different. He acts like a different person. It's sort of like going from Kirk to Picard every other couple seasons.
Well, the Gramps used to paint their house a different color every 2 years.
The
It would
show
go
makes me
from-
mad.
They live across the street in Tristan Lane, Williamsville, New York. But it would go from like this really cool yellow to this like really horrible green. No offense, Gramps, but it was what we saw at our front window. So it's like, yay, yellow years. Jake knows what I'm talking about. Are we in a yellow year, Jake?
I don't know, but I actually do know what you're talking about.
That's what's so sad. Go ahead, Ryan.
The show makes me so mad. It's a good show. Like, I'll give you that. I'm not a fan of it, but it's a good show. But it makes me mad because if you're like familiar with like internet memes and stuff, there's childhood friend who's like that kid when you're little who always changes the rules just to benefit him. Like, oh, you can't do that because
Yeah.
I'm awesome and whatever you know what I'm talking about. So it's like that. It's like, oh yeah. And by the way, every time he dies, he just comes back as someone else and he's like alive again. And like the show just goes on forever. Like that's no fun. There's no suspense when he dies if he's just gonna come back.
That is true, but I don't watch Doctor Who, so I really don't feel qualified to judge on the very.
I don't watch it either, so I just know that.
The casting, but it must be awful to be like Doctor Who and get like that notice in your inbox, like, your services are no longer required in the role of Doctor Who, and you will be replaced by the new Darren. Reference from the '60s. Go ahead, Montana.
Okay, I totally get the Darren reference.
You do?
For the
Yay!
I love both Dick York and Dick.
You
other
love them both
guy.
equally?
Well, no. Okay, the later one he was good and whatever, and he had that whole way of talking. But then the first one, I love when he got so passive aggressively mad, and then his entire face would turn purple. Like that's not healthy.
Go Team Dick York.
Yeah, I know.
He was
the
awesome.
best. And then the later one,
Never mind.
he
It's
just
Bewitched.
hated his kids, and it was so funny to watch.
Well, I mean, they were witches.
That's
So-
true, but like, you just don't have kids with her. Anyway.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're gonna, anyway.
Yeah. Oh, so back to sleepovers.
All right, back to I forgot the topic. I had to look at my script. Sleepovers. So, I guess the tricky part about sleepovers is like, when do you sleep or suggest sleep, or do you wait for the other person to suggest sleep, or do you just keep the over part and not the sleep part? Alex Silver.
Personally, I have trouble like hearing people when they whisper. So like usually you shut the lights off, and
Right.
then you're waiting there for a little bit, and the people are talking to you, and I just kind of like tune them out, and then slowly but like at 4 a.m. or whatever time you're going to sleep, you just kind of both fall asleep.
You can say I'm like really tired.
That's the cue. If you hear somebody say I'm tired, stop talking.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's definitely etiquette. Yes, go ahead, man.
Well, what I do normally at sleepovers is like, me and my friends just kind of lay on my bed, and we sleep whenever one person passes out on the other person, incapacitating them to do anything else.
I see.
But things to do at sleepovers.
So it's a defensive game.
Very, actually. But things to do at sleepovers, like if you have nothing to do, turn on the TV and turn on like one of those crazy like Spanish telenovas or like or the Chinese soap operas, especially if you don't speak the language. They're just try to figure out what they're saying, because me and my friend, we had like no internet, no anything for like a week, but we had Spanish telenovas, and we were just were captivated by them.
That's a really good idea. Aaron, remember
no one
when
wears
we
a
were
full
watching
shirt.
when we were watching Star Trek or was it Superman in Spanish? What was it?
Oh my gosh,
It doesn't really make a difference, but it was in Spanish, and so we just kept making everything about pie. Like we were translating, and we just kept saying, "Well, I like raspberry pie." That's ridiculous. Why wouldn't you choose pudding pie? I've never heard. And we just watched the whole movie that way, and it had to be like whatever we were saying had to be about pie.
I so barely remember this. Like,
Do you remember it, Jake?
Forever ago.
I barely remember watching you make a fool of yourself. Yes.
All right, thank you.
In Life of Pi?
That'd be great. K Start 17 writes, how do you tell your best friend you love him? So I mean, I wrote back to this person and I said I would need more information because it's like, A, are you both girls? B, are you both boys? C, are you 12? It's like, I mean, there's a time and a place to reveal that, but it may not be, the answer may not always be, well, just go ahead and say it because it would be better to know. That may not always be the answer. It may sometimes or often be the answer if you're over 16, but like under 16, it may not always be the answer. What do you think, Ryan?
I agree with that. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that this is something SpongeBob has taught me, which is there's one episode, well, it's Patrick, but it's from SpongeBob. They're delivering chocolate bars. They're trying to sell them. They want to be entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, exactly. And Patrick goes up to this guy's house, and the guy opens the door, and they're trying to be nice to sell chocolate. Patrick just goes, I love you. And the guy just slams the door shut. Because if you just tell someone you love them, it's kind of a lot to take in. So really think about the time when you're doing it and the conditions in which you're doing it.
Right. And if you want to really learn some wisdom, listen to the duet between Frank and Nancy Sinatra. Because they refer to saying I love you as something stupid. Not just something. Think about it. But I don't think it's stupid to say you love someone if you're really good friends and therefore the relationship as a friendship is already over if one person wants more. So assuming you're 16 and up, if one person wants more than friendship, then it's out of balance. One person wants friendship, one person wants love, or maybe you both want love, but you won't find out unless you get your answer. And sometimes, as much as it hurts, you really need to hear that person say, I don't see you that way, to suddenly, within the next month, see someone else as romantically potential. Because while you're hoping for this one person, your heart and your mind are really closed off to everyone else. So I do think there's freedom in truth at some point, but maybe not for 12-year-olds. So, like, if you're both young kids, you may not want to say it yet. You may want to just... What are some of the things that you can say that would be, like, really good hints to get an idea about whether or not you should say it? Because I was thinking, like, you could say stuff like, like, oh, like, take a picture and say, like, we really look cute together, or, and just see how they... Are there any, like, good little things to say that are non-threatening if it turns out that you're just going to be friends? Alex?
I think that, like, it depends on the relationship that you have with the friend, but if you talk to the friend and you're a girl in this situation and you say, like, you send them a picture and you say, how do you think I look today? Or stuff like that, things that are more than just, like, typically your friend will always say you, like, look good, or I'm sorry, your friend will say you look good, but, like, a guy might say you look cute.
Mm-hmm.
Like, certain, like, keywords, I guess. I guess if I was interested in a girl to be more than friends with her, I would say, like, you're cute with, all the words that kind of, like, hinted that, I think are good ones.
Or
That's
the winky
really
face.
Good. But don't you think that people oftentimes will say things like, do you like anyone? Who do you like? And then, like, if he doesn't say that he likes you, they get discouraged. But that's kind of like putting a person on the spot. Like, I don't think if you like the guy, I don't know if you should say, who do you like? What do you guys feel about that? Because that seems to be like the go-to position.
Yeah.
And the go-to question. And I don't think it's a good way to get your information. Keo?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, whenever a girl, whether I liked her or not, I would never be willing to say you if they ask me, who do you like? Usually I'd be like, none of your business, or like, don't worry about it. But I don't think asking who do you like is a good thing to ask. I think maybe what I would do is, I don't know, there's a lot of different situations and things that matter about this question that will make it different.
Yeah.
Depending on how old, how your relationship is exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, if it's two boys, two girls, boy and a girl, I think you can, I don't know, it's just a thought, but you could try and create somewhat date-like situations and see how comfortable they are with that. Like, say, do you want to go to a movie or something? And then see how, like, try and test the waters like that.
Yeah, like you could move in with them and see how they are with that.
Yeah.
Maddie?
It's funny that you say that you wouldn't say anything if somebody asked you who you liked. my friend and her now ex, unfortunately, this doesn't really help my point, but anyway, she asked him who he liked, and he told her that it was her, and she said, "Well, I like you," and then that happened.
No,
But
I'm
he
saying
was really brave.
I'm
to
saying
do that.
that's how I was like when I was growing up, like up to like until I was a junior, probably in high school. Then I would be like you, but before that, I would be like, I'm not gonna tell you. Like it's not gonna.
And Montana, go ahead.
Well, I kind of agree with him in this sense. Like, if you're putting someone on the spot, and it's like you can't just be like, if they ask you who do you like, you can't just be like, you, I love you so much, come
And
live
then
with me, and
music
we'll
starts
skip
playing.
off into the sunset
Yeah.
or something. But I think before you tell someone you love them, and to be sure you love them, you have to be comfortable with even telling them that. I mean, not comfortable as in don't be scared because it's scary, but like be comfortable as in know that they're gonna react and not spit in your face or something.
They're going to
I
be
mean,
sweet with whatever their
spitting, but
response is. Yes, but
that's
all right. So just as like a guideline for people this age down the road, if a girl asks a guy, "Who do you like?" does that often mean
No.
that she likes him, or is she just curious about who he likes? Ryan.
There's like three, and I'm not a girl, but
Okay.
I have three, like, ways this could go in my mind. It could be, yeah, she likes you. Yeah, she's just curious, or her friend likes you.
Yeah.
Like,
Ooh, Alex.
and then you even know which friend.
Yeah.
I think that there's no three options. It's one option because why would I mean if she's your friend, she would already know who you like if you're like just friends on that kind of basis. So if this girl's asking you that and it seems out of the blue, it's probably because she's interested. I see no other. I mean, I'd have to ask Rye Girl or another person in this room, but that's just my opinion.
I mean, don't
Aaron?
you think that, like, in middle school, people are like, oh, wouldn't you ask, like, you know him kind of well, wouldn't you ask who he likes for
Yeah,
me?
but girl to guy, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that happened to me. It was a girl asking me who I liked, and I thought she liked me, but she was asking for her friend.
Yeah,
Oh,
then
wow.
it throws off the guys. Then
Yeah.
it puts us in a weird
so
game.
confusing. It's like it's a trap.
Tell us you like
Turn
us, guys.
around.
Just, like, we don't
Go
care.
back, Aaron.
Oh, well, I don't know. My point's kind of been made already, but like, yeah, I think like the most common is them asking on behalf of someone else. I think like that happens the most because it's
Or
just
they say, like, if your friend said, "Okay, do some reconnaissance, go in and find out if Moses likes me." So, would you go in and say, like, "So Moses, do you like anyone?" Like, is that, or would I go, "Do you know Kylie?" Like, wouldn't I get more to the point?
no, like when you're older, maybe that's what you do, but like when you're younger, you like it. Like, the person asking like who do you like, they're in a great position because they don't really care either way, and they don't have to name names, so they're just like, oh, whatever the answer is the answer.
Oh, I'll find out who he likes and then get back.
Exactly.
My
Right.
yes. Okay. My intelligence. Bring back my intelligence to.
Exactly.
Hi, Aim. My other sister's here. I don't know, guys. Throw to each other. I'm confused. Lots of hands are going up.
Well, Kao's right here, so
I'll real quick. I'm going back to the actual situation that happened to me.
Yeah.
This girl kept on asking me, and I was like, "Why do you want to know?" And she's like, "Oh, I just want to know."
Good. That's a good question.
And she never gave me a real answer. And then I was like one day she asked me, and I was like, "Who do you think I should like?" And then she said somebody's name, and then I was like, "Oh no, I don't like her." But
Whoa. Sad ending. Okay, Maddie.
I mean, as advice just to all the girls out there, if it's not you that's interested, say, as a friend, who do you like? Because then it's just better that, well, unless you're going to be all sneaky about it. And then, no, but then,
so tricky.
Never
Yeah.
mind, that wasn't a good point. Never mind.
yeah, I think
forget that.
I think we would read into that pretty deep.
Yeah,
I think that would work.
Yeah, no. But like, if you thought on the very simple level, it would work. Like,
Yes.
simply.
As your romance guide,
because I mean, like,
I'm doing a research project.
'cause
Montana.
Oh,
sorry. Well, the thing I've found is more advice to girls is try, if your friend asks you to ask them, be more direct about it. Like, don't even beat around the bush. Just be like, do you like them? Tell
Yeah.
them. Because I've gotten into a situation where my friends have asked me to tell them like to see if they like each other, and I ended up like telling each other what they should text to each other, basically having a conversation with myself.
She became the operator.
It was actually kind of fun for a
Let's
bit,
jump
but,
to
like,
the next
still.
question. I know that hands are still going up, but I just want to make sure we get through everything. Ask Violet, is it okay to have a crush on someone while you are in a relationship?
What about Amila?
Huh?
What about Amila's question before
We
that?
skipped one?
I wanted
You
to
know
talk
why?
about
I
that
think
one.
I skipped over that because I knew that you wanted to ask it, and I have it in for you.
Well, since we've read this question already, let's just hit this question. Come back to that one.
Will you remind me though, Maddie? Because what if I forget and keep going? Okay, so Ask Violet is in a relationship with someone, and I read more of the thread of what she was talking about, and she likes this. She has a crush on someone who isn't her boyfriend, and she would almost rather spend time with that person and all of that. Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, I mean, I think it's okay to have a crush on someone while you're in a relationship, but if you don't like the person you're in the relationship with, or you'd rather spend time with the person outside of the relationship, then it's still okay to have that crush, but it's not okay to have that relationship that you're in, I think. Like, if that makes any sense.
Yes, that makes
So
a
you
lot of
can,
sense.
like, yeah.
Yeah,
Because
like,
eventually your boyfriend's going to see you like having fun and laughing and teasing and flirting with this guy, and it's just going to be kind of really horrible for him to have to watch that and then eventually hear from you. Okay, Aaron, you're anxious to talk.
yeah. I mean, like, I kind of agree with Ryan. I mean, like, to extend what he was saying, it's just like it's not fair to you or to him that you're in this relationship when you're realizing that you have other people you'd rather spend time with and whatever else. It's like, well, then break off that relationship or tone it down. So that way you're not holding each other back. You're not, like, forcing yourself into something that's just, like, that feels forced, right?
Don't you think that getting a crush on another person is sometimes a way of letting you know that you're not in the right relationship and you should listen to that?
Well, I mean, like, sometimes you'll have this notion is like, oh, well, what if this person, yada, and then you're like, no, that's just totally silly. I like this person that I'm with, right? I mean, like, flashes of, like, stupidity.
A flash, yes,
yeah.
but this seems to be persistent.
Right. No, and I'm saying I'm not saying in general, I'm saying in this situation, I think that her situation isn't this is a crush. I think what she's noticing is she'd rather spend time with this other guy, and I'm not saying you should leave the guy you're with to be with that other guy, but I'm saying at the very least it's not fair for you to stay in this relationship if you would rather spend time with other people, because then it's just, what are you doing, right? You're just sort of, it's prolonging the inevitable, kind of.
And you're living an unauthentic life. You are liking somebody who isn't your boyfriend, and so that just leads to secrets and lies, and then that kind of teaches you at a very young age that it's okay to behave that way, and it's just a really bad habit to get into where people's feelings are at stake. Who else had their hand up? Oh, okay, Maddie, read the question that you wanted to read.
Okay. Can someone explain to me how it is a good idea to invite people to your birthday party that you don't like and never hang out with? So basically have drama on purpose. Does that sound smart?
Okay, what we were doing before the show is we were trying to get to the underlying...
So
okay. Oh, you want to talk, Ryan?
I just want to say one comment.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If you're listening, please call, because this is like the one question that I've seen while I've been on the show that I really want to like talk to the person about. Like, I can answer most of these questions just from reading them, and like sometimes there's stuff missing, but like I want to talk to you about
The
your
way
logic
you
behind
phrased
this
it.
and why too. And like if you're listening, please call in.
Can I give you my theory, Ryan?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, because I do speak teen pretty fluently.
I am
So,
a teen, so
This is written by a person who's upset that her friend invited people she doesn't like to her birthday party, knowing that... Oh, Ryan!
please be you.
And she wants to know why somebody would do that when even she knows that this friend doesn't like the people she invited. Like, is she attracted to drama? Is she trying to hurt me? It's a loaded question, wouldn't you say, Aaron?
Yeah. Although my other theory is that she's being forced either by parents or school or something to invite this person to her
I
own
see.
party. That's what I think.
You think because when you first read it, you think she's talking about her own party, but then you pull back and you're like, she's talking about something her friend did. Like, why invite people that are just going to be dramatic to something that's supposed to be happy?
Or she's talking about somebody that she doesn't get along with that she was invited to a party with.
Well, let's see who's on the phone. Maybe we'll solve our mystery. Who's there?
This is Jordan Chris Colfer.
Oh, did you have a theory about this question, and or did you write this question?
I did not write this question.
Okay, so what's your theory on the way it's phrased and why it's phrased in such a kind of covert fashion?
The thing I'm wondering is why this person I feel like it's a girl,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't like the girl that her friend invited. That's one question going through my mind.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, why does it really matter? She's going to see her friend for her birthday and celebrate her birthday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I
So
think
it didn't
that
really
like
matter.
a really important thing to remember as you go through life is that when you're going to a party, it's not your day. You're there to support the party, the event, and somebody else, and never make it about you or feel that people are doing things to you. They are doing things for a variety of different reasons, and your job is to show up and be supportive. Aaron?
Yeah, I still am pretty convinced that she's talking about her own party and that she's questioning not the logic of inviting someone, but the logic of her parents or whoever telling her that she needs to invite this person.
Okay, so she's saying, how is it a good idea to invite people to your birthday party that you don't like? Oh, I see. So you're feeling that there's parental pressure.
Right, and she knows that there's going to be drama if this person is invited, but her parents are saying, no, you should really invite them because like they're part of your group or you're part of your school or something like that, right?
So at what age do you guys remember where you really got to pick the guest list and this kind of thing ended? Because there is a light at the end of this tunnel. Ryan?
Okay. Oh.
Oh, yeah, no, you
Ms.
can
Colfer.
answer, Mrs. Colfer.
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine who we kind of clash a little bit. I've had a friend like that from elementary to high school now. And that friend and I, whenever they are invited over to something, I just kind of let them go and do what they do. If they talk to me, I'll talk to them and be kind to them.
Yes, I call this technique passive indifference or polite indifference. In other words, no drama, just, hey, how you doing? And then you just keep moving. You don't have to make it about you by being, so that everyone knows, I don't like this person. It's not about you. It's not your party.
No, but if this is the party, then it's a whole different scenario, right? Because then it's like you're being
I see what you're saying.
You're
Yeah.
being told to invite this person who you don't like.
Just,
or who you know other people won't like.
You can have a conversation with your parents and say, you know what, I know that you're friends with her parents. How many more years do I have to invite her? Because she just causes drama, and we're not a good mix, and there's no good guy, there's no bad guy. It's just not a good mix. Like, you could try that. Somehow I don't know if it's going to work. Go ahead, Ryan.
I have two things to say on this. The first is I was always really allowed to invite kind of whoever I wanted. My parents would be like, you sure you don't want to invite that person? I'd be like, yeah, I don't like them. I'd be like, oh, okay. But I have friends who, it was until we were in probably like 8th grade that they were still like, their parents were still asking them to invite people.
Right.
Same with me.
Who really but the entire group at the party wasn't too fond of that person. Like, this was the kind of thing where it was someone who really wasn't well liked for one reason or another, and their parents just wanted that person to feel welcomed, but it made it hard on everyone else at the party because, we were hanging around someone we weren't too fond of. So it's kind of a tough boat.
It is really tough. But, Maddie, go ahead, Brian.
I was going to say the one other part is I have a close friend group, and there's a kid who for a while didn't like me like at all after we'd been really good friends, and like I kind of just was like, okay, whatever. I guess I lost a friend. That kind of sucks, but I moved on eventually. And then we went back to school 2 days ago, and he's being like insanely nice to me. So it's the kind of thing where you might hate him now, but they might. You never know. Like people do change.
Well, and also keep in mind that if this person has to come, that drama is only created if two people engage in drama. One person engaging in drama just looks ridiculous, and if you choose to ignore it and be Austin, be a Zen master and just be like, I'm calm, then they just really look silly, and you look super cool. Maddie.
I might be able to help because this actually happened to me.
All right.
In like 6th grade, I think. It was a bar mitzvah, I think.
Oh, those things are...
And what happened is there was this one kid who we didn't get along since like 3rd grade because we'd been in the same class since like I want to say 2nd grade, and like from the get-go we didn't like each other. Like it just did.
Then I don't like her.
Yeah, but anyway, so when it came to around like bar mitzvah time, I told my parents that I didn't want to invite him to my bat mitzvah.
Oh, it's a boy?
Yeah, it's a boy.
I don't like him either.
And they were like, but you're inviting the rest of the class. And I didn't know what to do because it was just a serious problem. Like, it was just not, like, good. And so I didn't invite him, and people kept looking for him at my bat mitzvah, and I didn't know what to say because he wasn't there. And then so when it came around for his bar mitzvah, he didn't invite me either, which was completely understandable.
Are you going to wind up married to this guy? I didn't like that look. Did you see? You guys saw the look she gave me?
Well,
That was
it's kind of
hostile.
hard to explain, but like one example is that like in 3rd grade, where not a lot of stuff can happen that matters that much. Like I fractured a wrist because he pushed me over.
Oh.
Yes, he was just like.
All right.
I know a kid who stood behind a corner and was trying to scare his friend, and a different girl came walking around the corner, and she fell backwards and like hurt her wrist or something. That was great. I mean, it was terrible, but it was great.
It was really terrible in such a great way.
Yeah. What?
But he didn't mean to hurt her.
No.
Like, he
But he did.
like, shoved
Oh,
me
yeah, that's
over.
bad.
We are Our Place Out Loud here with a lovely panel of teenagers. I am Louise Palanker. We're going to move on to the next question from Music Chick. My mom be driving me crazy! Exclamation point. Pardon me? Oh, Jordan, thank you so much for calling Mrs. Colfer. We're going to free up the line, and I appreciate your record. And you, I don't know if you're keeping track, but this is very impressive. She has called many, many nights, many weeks in a row, and we're very, very proud of her. Music Chick writes, my mom be driving me crazy. She is always saying I'm talking back or have an attitude when I never do. She's always saying that all the time, and I don't do anything. She and my dad be putting stuff all up in my face, asking me the same thing over. Does anyone have any advice for parents like that? And the hands are going up. And I just want to say before I throw to you guys that sometimes teenagers don't even hear their tone because they're just so caught up in trying to be. Maddie.
Okay, this exact same thing happened to me like 2 years ago. I could not have a conversation with my parents before they were like, I don't like your tone.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so confused because I didn't understand what was going on because I was not aware that I was using a tone. But this was like at the point where I just learned how to use sarcasm.
And it's so fun. I taught Aaron.
And I wasn't aware that every single thing I was saying was, and yeah, well, you know what, your face too. You know, like it all was sarcastic and horrible. And so I'm not saying that you are using a tone in this situation, but I mean, just try to say like, because what really ended up solving the problem was I said, I'm sorry that my tone is offending you. I'm going to try to my best to not do
Oh my
whatever
God,
I
that's
was
so
doing.
mature.
Because
that's really good.
Even if you don't know what the problem, that will help you in every single situation, every single one. That is
Yeah.
like the key to the way out. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that what I did it wasn't very
I
nice.
apologize.
And I'll try to
Exactly.
do better next time. Every single situation.
Also,
fixed.
if you think of your parents, if you take ownership, that's so key. If you take ownership,
Yeah.
but also think of your parents as these really cool, popular kids who are 2 years older than you that you're trying to impress. I mean, you'd never speak to them as like, okay, like because we all know what the tone. Like we know what the tone is. Like you know when you hurt that you know what the tone is, and you just don't realize there's a slight edge to it, and there doesn't need to be. Montana.
No, Easy. I really don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, your face. Montana.
So I also had the same thing happen to me, and like you said, and like she said, just keep it zen.
Keep it zen.
When like my parents would like start yelling at me like, "Oh my God, you're using a tone" or whatever,
And then
I'd
you use
just
the
be
worst
like,
tone ever when they tell you that you're using the tone, right?
Oh my God,
Yeah.
yeah. What I learned to do is just like, what tone?
Oh
What-
my
what are you
God.
talking about?
You're so mystic.
I don't know what are you talking about? Just
Austin?
go completely deadpan.
Just go completely. Yeah.
Well, and then also try to be like, sorry you think I'm using a tone. That makes them really mad.
Austin?
Yeah, but it works. Sort of.
It's really
Yeah,
good.
I'd say watching your own behavior is definitely the first step, and maybe think you always do things, but like pay attention to when your parents say, "Hey, I need you to take this out of the car" or something, and then see if you actually do it. Maybe you're doing a bit less than you think you are, and if using no tone whatsoever doesn't work, then I would recommend just keep staying calm and keep not giving them any reason to believe that you are using a tone or being disrespectful, and then it'll just be so obvious that they're just saying stuff, and even they will finally realize it.
Do you wonder what Aaron thinks?
I wonder what Aaron thinks.
I largely agree with you, actually. What I think, because I think it's happened to all of us to an extent. What helped me most was like, okay, so I thought to myself, what makes them happy? Like, what things do I do that they want me to do that make them happy? So, okay, well, making sure that every day, like, the pets have food, the kitchen is clean, this and that, trash is out, et cetera, right? And just do the things will put you on their good side.
Or give them no reason to look at you in an irritated way.
Exactly, because, like, you often aren't aware of how you sound to people, and if your actions are exemplary, like, they may have an issue with, like, what you're saying, but they're like, well, he's obviously just going through something. I mean, like, it's not that big a deal. He's, everything's going well.
And the weird thing about the tone is we use it on the person or the people that we love the most because we know that they're going to love us no matter what. Like, I will use the tone on my husband. He's the last person who deserves it. He's the nicest man in the world.
True.
In addition to the men in this room. But, like, I was trying to call the pharmacy, and, like, every single month I have a problem with this one prescription because they only give me 15 pills. I'm only supposed to take it for half the month, so they won't refill it. They'll say it's too early to refill it when I'm trying to remember. And so I'm just trying to get the pharmacist on the line, and I'm, like, already, like, really irritated. And he's like, press 0. It will take you right to the... And it, I had already tried that, and it didn't work. And I was like, I already did that! And I wasn't mad at him. But he was like, don't yell at me. And I'm like, he's right. He's right. Why am I yelling at him? He's trying to help me. Kyo.
Okay.
So that's what I mean by the tone. Like, the tone can come into any situation. Even when you're upset with a friend, the parent can be the person hearing the tone, even though that's not your intent. It's what they hear.
Yeah.
Go, Kyo.
I've experienced this in both ways where I've been using a tone and having an attitude, and my mom has said, I don't like your attitude. And then I've experienced it where I didn't have any attitude, but she still said the same thing and interpreted that. Mm-hmm. And that happened when I was older and matured more. And when that started happening, my response would be, I'm sorry that you're interpreting my tone or body language as rude or something. I wish I could say it another way where you didn't see it that way. I want to tell you I don't mean it that way.
That's really nice. Nice language. Well done.
And I for the longest time, the statement, I don't like you, like, you have an attitude, bothered me because everybody has an attitude. Like
Joanne used to always say,
yeah, my attitude could be good.
I went through this phase where, like, I wouldn't eat, like, most foods on planet Earth. And so Joanne would always, if they put something in front of me that I wasn't going to eat, like, Joanne would say, get that look off your face. And she's, like, 2 years younger than me. So it's like, I'm getting enough crap from my parents. Like, I need this one, telling me that I've got the look, which is the same as the tone, really. It's just the tone without words. So it's like, and you felt like, I'm trying to hide my disappointment in the entree. But, it's like, everyone knew, like, everyone was on to me. I was a B word, I was 15.
Yeah.
Like, you can be a B word. You just have to work through it and be willing to admit that I could do better. Ryan.
For me, I think all teenagers go through that phase. On Facebook, I believe I'm trilingual, as like I'm listed. It's English, Spanglish, and sarcasm are my 3 languages.
Very nice.
On there, I think. And yeah, so that's like, I think it's all teenagers go through that. I've experienced what Maddie was saying, where I do have a tone and I don't always notice it, and my parents say I do. Or what Kia was saying, where like I actually don't, and they still say I do.
Yeah.
I've even experienced it when they do, and they tell me I do.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
it's really obvious that they're the ones who are like yelling at me about me yelling at them when I'm like sitting here
I
talking
know,
like this.
but, like, it's hard to win that because they're the parents.
Right, and the thing about like saying I'm like, it's great to say something like I'm sorry I'm coming across that way, but my brother always pulls the I'm sorry you feel that way, which puts it on me, which is like that I'm interpreting it wrong.
It's not a really good apology.
Right, so for me, I was trying to say I'm sorry
No.
I'm coming across that way.
No,
I'm not trying to.
Ah,
because
that's
'cause
good.
I'll be like, why are you being such a jerk? I'm sorry you feel like I'm being a jerk. You're being mean to me. I'm sorry you feel like I'm treating you badly.
But
Like,
maybe you're never supposed to say stop being a jerk. Maybe you're supposed to say I feel bad sometimes that I feel like you're angry at me. Like Maddie always says to use I statements. Like don't use the word jerk because that will just put him on the defensive.
and that's what I'm saying now is like when you're in the situation, use the I statement of I'm sorry I come across that way.
Yeah, I'm sorry you're interpreting me that way. That is not my intention, and I'll work on that. Go ahead, Maddie.
Okay, I just had to say this. Any of the kids in the room, have your parents ever like looked at you and gone, "You look really tired. You should go to bed," and they're the ones that are like tired? Has that ever happened to you?
No.
Like
People always say that I
your
look
parents are like,
My
"Oh, you
my
look
mom
really
sad.
tired."
my mom my mom did that to me last night at like 7:00, and I'm like, it's 7:00.
My mom goes to bed at like 7:30, and it makes me really annoyed because I get
Seriously?
home at like 7. So I walk
Oh.
in, and then she just goes to sleep.
We are Our Place Out Loud. I'm Louise Palanker. We're here with a panel of wonderful teenagers. We want to make sure we get to all the good stuff tonight. This is from East Coast Girl. My parents are going through a messy divorce. I'm the oldest, and I have 5 younger sisters. My dad refuses to make it easy and won't just leave on his own. Now they have to go through the courts, and it's just really rough. It's been a crazy year for me. I've been in and out of 4 programs for depression, anxiety, self-harm, suicidal thoughts / ideations, and an eating disorder. The divorce is just really adding to the stress. Any advice on how to cope with all of it? I mean, this is a lot. Like, it's a ton. Like, so, it's hard to say if, like, all of this stuff that she's been coping with is a result of the parents not getting along this whole entire time and the kids not really being a priority, plus there being a lot of kids. And so, any advice or anyone have any words of wisdom or courage or support? Aaron?
Well, I just, it's hard to say this. Like, given your background, it's hard to say this and just like, oh, it's going to be easy, because it's not going to be easy. But, and you probably have, if you hear this, you probably say, well, I've tried that. Well, I mean, like, find a safe, healthy outlet. And that's like ridiculous. That's what everybody says. But like, that's really the best possible thing for you to do. Find that it could be a person, it could be a thing that you do. Like, I don't know, like for me, if things get overwhelming, I might sit down and just like play games for like a couple hours, and like that works for other people too. It doesn't work for everybody, but like stuff like that. And I know you've heard this before, given your background, but that's really just the very best that I think the very best advice that you could get. Just a matter of like doing it, which is hard.
Montana?
What he was saying, finding a safe, healthy outlet. Well, sometimes when I get like really, really angry or like stressed out, and I get pretty stressed out sometimes, what I found what really helps is yelling at inanimate objects and punching bags.
we
Punching
have the
bags
troll.
are great.
We have a troll. Hold on. Would you like to
I
demonstrate?
knew it would come in handy.
You dirty troll!
I absolutely knew that would come in handy.
He has
What is this for?
to yell at.
Yelling at.
To yell at.
I hate you.
It's
It's
not very
funny
yelly.
because these say "I love you" on it.
Oh,
And
that
it's-
is.
I can't yell at a troll.
It's hard to get
Oh,
mad.
I would love
Like-
yelling at that thing.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay,
love you back.
Toss it over.
I'm going to pull out your
Unleash.
hair.
Ryan?
Why are you ruining my life?
I was depressed for about 5 years, and severely depressed for 2 or 3, with thoughts of suicide and stuff like that. So I can definitely relate to this. My parents went through a divorce. It wasn't as rough as yours is, so I can't relate to that part of it. But I think part of it, as like kind of dark as this sounds, is just kind of accepting it and being okay with being sad for a little while. Because sometimes you just need to cry or yell at a troll or whatever it may
That
be,
is wise.
and just be okay with that.
And Austin, I'm going to throw to you because I know that you, in some of your rules for life, you have something that applies to this, some wisdom that applies to this. Would you mind sharing that with us?
Austin's declassified life survival guide.
Yeah, I think the most important thing about dealing with any emotion is that you have to realize that it's just a process, just like a positive emotion or just like a sensation going through you that has to be completed. Otherwise, it just creates blockage and then it builds up in you. But if you just accept it and realize that it's just nothing more than a process or a sensation, that's how it will actually flow all the way through you and ultimately be alleviated. So don't judge yourself for having the emotion. Don't think it means like you're weak or something, or don't think it means you're strong either if you like repress your emotions. You really just have to accept that it's there, and that's the biggest part of letting it go.
And we are not our emotions.
No.
They're just something that happened to us, and therefore nothing is permanent. So it's when I get letters from kids saying like, I can't be anymore. I can't exist any longer. I can't take it anymore. They are assuming that what they are feeling is permanent, and it just isn't. Nothing is. Ryan.
Well, one more thing I forgot to mention, but first I'm going to talk about that, which is just that's totally like how it feels, like having been there. But it's one of those things that somewhere, at least for me, I found out that it isn't always sad because I realized that I have all these happy parts of my life, and I was just more focused on the bad parts. And so that kind of ties into, you were saying you have an anxiety disorder. So do I, and that made it really difficult for me to like be okay with being sad and depressed, because it was like, well, what if this isn't going to get better? It's not, and I was just stuck in that like loop of a mind process. I figured out the thing that helps me the most, punching bags didn't do it for me, playing sports didn't do it for me, take a nap. I would just cry until I fell asleep, which sounds terrible, but then I'd wake up. I'd still kind of feel bad, but it'd be like almost just like hitting the refresh button on your internet browser. You just go to sleep, and when you wake up, it's done.
Nap therapy.
Yeah.
I could sign up for that. Kyo.
Yeah, my thing would be playing music or playing the piano and just kind of bashing on it really hard, and playing some really loud song.
And for me, it would be playing the drums.
Yeah. Yeah.
Releases everything.
I think what Ryan has said, and also Austin, is like really, really good advice, and I just want to reaffirm that a lot of the time people feel something, and then there's another feeling that they shouldn't be feeling this thing, which makes it so much worse. So, like, if you have some kind of injury, it's kind of a bad analogy, but if it's like if you got it a stupid way, then it's worse kind of for you to have to tell people, oh yeah, a car ran over my foot, I was just standing there watching, rather than, oh yeah, I
rescuing kittens.
Yeah, I was rescuing kittens. But like if you feel like there's nothing wrong with how you've gotten your what you're feeling, then it makes what you're feeling a lot more.
This just happened.
You can deal with it a lot easier.
All right, I know we've got hands up, but we're going to jump to Thread Theater because I want to make sure that we get to it. And we've got an exciting 2-act play. Both are different stories. So let's curtain up on Act 1, which I am entitling the dramatic piece, Using the Word Gay. And let's just use Aaron, Kimute, and Ryan on this very short piece. And curtain up.
Did I read the last two?
I will read the names of the authors. Lilmsbeats. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, there we go.
Thank you. Matt speaks teen better than I do.
That makes sense.
Yes, you do. Lil Miss Beats.
All right, Lil Miss Beats. Who hates it when people look at awkward things and say, that's so gay?
I know, right? I'm straight, but I'm 100% supportive. My brother does it, and I get really pissed when he says mean stuff like that.
I hate it.
My friends don't know that I'm bi, and they were saying that today at school, so I left the table.
Okay, so you remember when we had the cast from Out with Dad? One of the episodes in Out with Dad, which is a really cool web series, was that the season opened with them saying how many gay slurs the average kid hears per day, and it's like 18. And one of the examples was kids just looking at like some random thing and calling it gay. So how do you guys feel about that? And is that something you hear in your school? And your thoughts, Ryan?
I encountered it today. Well, I encountered it all the time, especially on the basketball court. People just do stuff. Oh, that's so gay. And I mean, 99% of the time, especially having a gay brother, I will just stand up and be like, "Hey, that's not cool." Just use something that you can call it stupid, but don't call it gay. Don't call it retarded, because that's not what it is. And I'll stand up and say that. And then today I had like a moral issue inside, because there are a lot of because we just started the year, there's like new kids coming in, and they're also saying it, and like I want to set an example, but also a lot of people like get really mad at you when you say stuff like that. They're like, "Oh man, he was just kidding, get off his back." And like there was like 10 new people there, and I didn't want to be like have everyone turn and look at me on like the second day of school.
So you have to pick your moment, like when they already know you and like you, and then maybe you can say,
that's like at the end of the year
that.
Last year was every time I heard it, I'd say something about it.
I used to teach stand-up like in large rooms of kids, and that they would say stuff like that, and I would just look at a large room of kids, and I would say, look, some of you guys are gay, even though they were like 10. I go, some of you guys are gay, so not on my watch. That word is not going to be used. But, I could say that because I was the teacher and I was a volunteer at the Boys and Girls Club. What are they going to do, fire me? If they did, it was like, okay, then I won't see you guys next week. But, I wasn't going to let them use that word in front of me. And there's gay kids on every campus. Like some of the kids saying that are gay. So it's just it's not a good habit to get into. And when I was a kid, we would call things queer, but I didn't even know that queer was kind of a term for homosexuals. So I was too naive to even know. I thought queer meant stupid or ridiculous or something, but it seems like every generation there's some word that could mean gay that people are using to define something that isn't okay. And when is that going to end? Kyo.
I mean, it's kind of, there's arguments that kind of persuade me into like the opposite of view of what you're saying, which is like it like to people that doesn't connect. It doesn't mean that to them. They're not thinking that when they say it. For me, what I do is I just don't say it because it's easy for me. It's not a habit that I have. So it's like, why am I going to cause problems unnecessarily? And a lot of people find it offensive. Just like I don't curse like around, like in a social setting. I don't use inappropriate words. And like I think of the word dumb, and that word meant you couldn't talk, but that's so like offensive that you like, it means you're stupid, or I don't even know where the word stupid comes from, but that's
Wait,
like,
did dumb was actually a synonym for mute?
Yes.
I did not know
absolutely.
that. See, that's
Deaf
the
and
thing.
dumb.
I'll call things dumb. Same thing where I said call it stupid, but not gay or retarded. But now, see that's different now.
I know, and words evolve. So, like, even if you say the word stupid, like, well, there are people who are stupid. So, is it fair to call this thing stupid and to make fun of it? Because it's not. It's because Forrest Gump was kind of stupid, but he was still awesome.
Well, I think stupid, but the thing for me is like stupid and retarded are two totally different things. And again, at this point, like I don't know the history of the two words, but for me, like having a retardation is like an actual like diagnosis. It's a thing
Right.
that people are, whereas being stupid is like at least the way I understand it
stupid
now.
moment, yeah.
is a moment,
Yeah.
and not a person.
Yeah. Okay, I could get on board with that. All right, let's move into Act 2. Curtain down, and then curtain up again. Okay, Thread Theater, Act 2, Parents and Texting, and curtain up. Watermelon Girl.
That watermelon girl. Should parents be allowed to check their children's text messages? Why or why not?
Yes.
Sal.
Yes, parents should be if their kids are hanging out with some wrong person and he can't tell his parents about it, so parents are allowed.
Katie Q.
It really depends on what kind of kid they have. If they have a good reason as to why they're looking at them, then yeah. But if they're doing it because they want to creep through them, then if they don't want their kid to feel alienated, I don't think they should.
That watermelon girl. Well, here's how I think of it. Do your parents ever lean over your shoulder when you hang out with friends and talk? Mine don't, but they still read my texts. I mean, I think it's fine if they just want to see who I'm texting, check my contacts and recently texted people and whatever, but they don't need to read all my conversations. I think that's an invasion of privacy. They pay the phone bills, so they should have a right. So they should have a right? I don't think so. They birthed you too, but they still have the decency to let you and your friends talk in private, so I don't see why texting should be any different. Maybe my opinion is like this because I'm a teenager who has conversations that I wouldn't always want my parents reading, but I truly believe that my conversations are for my eyes. That's who the sender intended their text to be read by. That's who it should be read by. That's who should read it.
Gaga. Q.
well, not really, but if they feel it's the best thing to do, and I know it sounds nosy, we might as well check our parents' messages too.
WXS. Maybe you can read this one, Matt. WXS smart.
I think the X's aren't real. I think they're like spaces.
Smart.
So W smart.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if they wanted them to know, they'd tell them. Yeah, they shouldn't be hiding anything, but still, if you give kids their space, they'll be more open with their parents.
Star clone. Aaron.
It depends. If there's nothing to hide in your text, there shouldn't be any reason for your parents to check that. If you're looking a mean way, I think they don't trust you, or your actions need to be more sincere.
So.
Majority of times, I think parents are checking kids' text messages because of safety, because what if your kid is hanging out with a killer, or what if he is in a bad company? Some kids don't know about that, but parents do.
Dead Inside. Ooh, that's a sad screen name. Dead Inside.
Depends on their age. If they're under 15, yeah, they should.
Starry-eyed. Maddie.
Yes, parents have the right to check, especially if their child is a minor. A few months ago, my coworker found out that her 15-year-old daughter was secretly sexting a 19-year-old boy. They do it for protection, even though it may seem like the most annoying thing in the world. And since they also have the responsibility of making payments for the phone bills and such, they do have a right to check the messages.
Cats go rar. Okay, Kyo, is it yours?
My parents don't check my texts, which I'm really grateful for. There's some things I don't want them to read, but it's nothing bad. I just feel like they actually trust me to make good decisions and be safe. In turn, I try to do what's right and what I've been taught. If the kid is making decisions that could harm them, the parent should have a right. Other than that, I still think kids who earn trust shouldn't be checked up on.
Maddie 13 rocks. Aaron.
Depends on the kid and if the parent knows they can be trusted or not. It's up to the parents, really. There's no right or wrong. It's a safety precaution, I guess. Something like that. I just delete all the messages before my mom reads them.
Whoa.
Smiley face.
Black Ivy, Montana.
If your parents are paying for it, absolutely. But if you are, no. It's just like if you're responsible enough to hold a job, you can text people without supervision.
All right, thoughts. Let's go around the room. Hands are going up. Whose hand is up first? Aaron, and then just kind of throw to each other.
Okay. Mine wasn't up first, by the way. But regardless.
That was mine.
Yes, actually, I think it was. So you're next. But I think it's sort of a delicate balance because, right, like you have the fact that the kids aren't paying for their own phone bills, right? So, you know, if they're going to be using this service that their parents are providing, it seems on the face of it like their parents should have at least some kind of control over it, maybe like when they get to do it. But at the same time, you know, it's like I think one of the people in the chat made a great point, right? Like if the parents would let you and a friend hang out and have a private conversation in your house, like, and they would give that to you, why wouldn't they give that to you in a text? And I think it's sort of a balance, right? It's like you have to earn the trust. Like if your parents feel, okay, well, I mean, I can trust my kid, yada yada, then, you know, that's fine. They can go and they can text whatever they want. But if something goes wrong, if they say, like, you know what, we feel that maybe some decisions you've made have been a little questionable, so from now on we want you to know we're going to be looking at who you text or maybe even reading your text, right? And then if they earn back trust, then that's...
Yeah, but I think the difference between an electronic message and having a conversation is like even adults, like if I'm gonna email my cousin Sarah, I know that like potentially anybody could read that, but if I want to say something to her that I really don't want anyone else to ever see, I'm going to pick up the phone and tell her. I don't want there to be a record of it. And so I don't think kids realize what a record they're leaving with these electronic texts. And so that's why I think the parents are more responsible for what is electronically typed than what is said in the basement, you know, in front of a movie. Like I think there's a difference, and kids should be aware that there's a permanence to what they text. And let's keep going.
Yeah, I also think that your range is so much further, and you can reach so many more dangerous people rather than when it's
that's another good point.
That's an actual person. To take this very technically, I think absolutely parents should be allowed to read your texts, and they have the right to. I don't necessarily think it's a good it's a good parenting thing to do or a good idea in every single circumstance, but there are circumstances where it is a good thing to do, and it depends on your relationship with your child or parent and how much you trust them. Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, yeah, I was gonna. Let me just kind of reiterate and expand on what you said about your range of people you can meet and talk to. In terms of having a private conversation with your friends directly, you're at their house or they're at your house. Like, even though your parents aren't listening over your shoulder, they know exactly who you're talking to.
Right.
They know the person, but for all my mom knows, I could be texting Jake or I could be texting some some dangerous person. And I think my parents trust me. They don't read my text messages or anything. And I like to say that I make good decisions and I have good judgment, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to make any mistakes. And so I think that while you're young, it's totally fine for your parents to check your messages. Doesn't mean it's always comfortable. And the one other part I'd say about that is, especially in high school, kids get their phones taken away and they'll be like, oh my God, I'm so scared if my parents read my texts. And my response is like, I have no sympathy for you. Maybe you shouldn't have done what you did knowing it was a bad idea. And then you did something to get your phone taken away. And it's like, you just messed up. I'm sorry, but yeah. So that's my stance on it.
Consequences. Yeah. Go ahead, Maddie.
I mean, how my parents handled the whole, getting your phone, reading the text thing is, my parents asked me, is there something on your phone that if I read it, I should be worried? And I know that the kid
That
could
is a loaded
obviously
question.
lie, but like like the kid could lie, but like if your parents, it's kind of like how one of the people in the chat the other was saying is that if your parents don't check your texts because they trust you, be the honorable person that they trust so that they don't check it. Yeah. Like it's just kind of like honor code. And if you're doing something on your phone that you would be like embarrassed or you wouldn't want your parents to see, think about what it is that you're doing, and maybe you shouldn't be doing something that you wouldn't want to show your parents. I mean, sometimes they're just conversations about, girls talking to each other about boys they like that they probably just wouldn't want their parents to read, but that's not like a bad, deep, dark thing.
No, it isn't.
Montana.
I think part of like your parents getting you a phone is they should be able to trust you enough to not have to like check up on every little thing, because then what's the point of even like texting? But like contrary to that, I think it is kind of okay for them to read your text, like if they think it could be dangerous and if your child makes terrible decisions. But I think it's also kind of on them to like let you be able to breathe and let you be able to come to them, because if it's not safe for you to come to them, you won't come to them with anything, and then you make a mistake and get in too deep.
That's a good point.
That's always bad.
But don't you think that every kid should sort of be aware that your phone could vibrate at any part of the house and somebody could glance over at it and see? I mean, so don't receive or send texts that anybody, including your little brother, couldn't see. It's not private. Like, let's not pretend texting is private. It really isn't that private. And I know you really want it to be, but if you want it to be, take your girlfriend down into the basement and go, oh my God, you're not going to believe who Harry likes. Because that's private.
Oh, I thought you meant like take like a boy, girl, girlfriend, like take them down to the basement.
No.
I was like,
I mean,
where are you going with this? Where are you going with this?
A private conversation is a private conversation face to face away from other people. That's a private
put a bag over their head and take them somewhere else.
Maybe the basement wasn't the right room.
To the park.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being with us. I really think it was the best show ever, and I want to thank our out-of-town guests for being here, the Rileys. Yay! And we will see you next week on Our Place Out Loud. Good night, everybody.
I've been out there wandering, I've been in here wondering, hoping, reaching, wishing I could find my way. Then I found our place.